Hi, and welcome to our quick start guide to using Campaign Monitor for Salesforce. This connector by Beaufort 12 is the #1 email marketing app for Salesforce. It's my pleasure to show you how simple it is and how powerful it can be. In this demo, our objective will be to send a new email campaign with Campaign Monitor using existing subscriber data in Salesforce. We'll start from the point where Campaign Monitor for Salesforce has just been installed and connected to Campaign Monitor. Then take you through the steps to sync your data and send an email campaign. While this isn't a comprehensive demo of everything that you can do, it will show you how you can get your business app syncing and ready to send email marketing campaigns in just a few minutes. There are also many other benefits to keeping your data consistent between your CRM and email marketing platform, not the least of which is saving you time. Over the next 10 minutes, we will be covering how to create a subscriber list in Campaign Monitor, sync your Salesforce records to this list using the import wizard, create custom fields and set up Salesforce field mappings, schedule your data sync for a specific time, create an email campaign in Campaign Monitor and define recipients, and send an email campaign and view the results. We'll also provide a few tips on how to test safely, and finally how to contact the Beaufort 12 support team should you have any questions around the setup and use of Campaign Monitor for Salesforce. So let's say that we've just connected to Campaign Monitor, we're really keen to sync our data, then send out an email campaign using Campaign Monitor. To get you orientated, we're in Salesforce Lightning and can see the app launcher, as well as the Campaign Monitor for Salesforce Lightning app, simply called Campaign Monitor. I'm seeing this as an admin, but if you have different permissions from me, you may only be able to see Campaign Monitor. If your access differs from what you see here, you can ask your Salesforce system administrator to update your permissions. The Campaign Monitor Lightning app is where we'll be doing most of our setup and email building today. With this Campaign Monitor tab, you can log in and use Campaign Monitor without leaving Salesforce. It's exactly the same as if you'd logged into the account directly via campaignmonitor.com, but without the extra steps of logging in frequently or working across multiple browser tabs. Let's move on to creating a new subscriber list in Campaign Monitor. Our subscriber list is where our data from Salesforce is going to go. You can use an existing list, but in this case, we'll start from scratch by clicking New. From here, you need to give the list a name and select the unsubscribe settings specific for this list. So now our subscriber list is ready. Let's add Salesforce records as new subscribers. There are a few different ways to add records from Salesforce, but by far the most popular is via our import wizard. It's very straightforward to use, and you can automate future runs with our scheduler. In order to select the records to sync, the import wizard requires a Salesforce campaign, report, list view, or alternatively, a knowledge of SOQL. If you don't already have a report or list view set up, then you should create one in Salesforce. Keep in mind that Salesforce does have default list views set up, so in the interest of simplicity, I'm going to use one of those in this demo. No matter what report or list view you use, the only requirement is that each record to sync has an email address. Records can be sourced from Salesforce standard leads or contacts, or custom objects, as long as there's an email address that you can sync to your Campaign Monitor list. So in the import wizard, we'll click New Import. There are 4 options to choose from: List View, Report, Salesforce Campaign, or SOQL. The list view is by far the most popular method to select records to push to Campaign Monitor lists, so I'm going to choose List View and click Next. The import wizard is now asking which object I want to use, and yes, Campaign Monitor for Salesforce will work with all objects. The lead object in particular is a popular choice, given that many of our customers want to send email marketing messages to their leads specifically. So here are the views that have already been set up in Salesforce. For simplicity, I'm going to select a standard Salesforce view. With the list view selected, we can see the fields currently in the list view. These are the fields that I can now map to Campaign Monitor. By mapping fields, you are pairing a field from Salesforce with a field in Campaign Monitor. Let's map one of these Salesforce fields to a field in Campaign Monitor's master list. In Campaign Monitor, fields that are not created by default are called custom fields. We can see here that we've set up a few of these custom fields ahead of time. But now, let's imagine that we're missing a custom field to map to. The good news is that we can create custom fields from the import wizard just as we are importing our data. By default, new custom fields will be given the same label as the field you're mapping it to in Salesforce. But you can also choose a different name. With the custom field created, we can now choose it and set the import wizard off to work. At this stage, we could click Import Now and push data from our list view to our master list in Campaign Monitor. However, many customers like to schedule their data syncs. We can do this by clicking Schedule, then selecting the days and time slots that we wish to schedule a data sync. While it's not a real-time update, we can choose to sync our data every hour of every day, or at a certain time. Clicking Save and Import has resulted in our Campaign Monitor subscriber list being populated with email address and data from our list view in Salesforce. And it will happen very quickly too. The larger the import, the longer it will take to finalise. If you want to check on how your import is doing, you can click on Results to see the results of the latest import, including how many records were added. Any problems will be reported too. We should also note that any changes to field mappings and data therein will also be reflected in subsequent data syncs. If you update a field in Salesforce, the field it's mapped to will be updated in Campaign Monitor when the next sync rolls around. You may also want to create segments in Campaign Monitor too, to groups like subscribers. Segments are like subgroups in subscriber list, created using rules that you define. For example, you could create a segment for subscribers where city equals London. This would allow you to send a specific targeted message to people who meet this criteria. So, with our initial import complete, all we need to do now is create an email campaign and add our list or segment as its recipients. Then we'll be ready to send. While campaign sending is outside of Campaign Monitor for Salesforce's feature set, this demo wouldn't be complete if we didn't actually create and send a Campaign Monitor email campaign. We're going to breeze through this, but be assured that Campaign Monitor has a lot of great guides and videos like this one, if you need a little more guidance on how to send your first email campaign. So let's now select the Campaign Monitor tab, and now click Create a New Campaign, and add a few required details, like the campaign name, subject line, and who it's coming from. Once done, we can click Next. Select an email template as a starting point for the email we're going to send. Let's use the one that I have here. By clicking on the email template, we'll now enter the email builder, where I'll be able to add my own content and customize the template. Once we're happy with the email design, we can click Preview and see both a web version and a mobile version of this email. I'm happy with the design, so we'll move on to defining the recipients for this email campaign. So you'll recognise the master list we created earlier, and so we'll add it as the recipients for this campaign. Now that it's done, the last step is to either send the email campaign now or schedule it for delivery later. When the email is sent, we'll receive a confirmation email in our inbox. Et voila! So, with our campaign sent, we should take a look at both how email activity is recorded on both a lead or a contact level, then via our email reports overall. Let's look at a contact record and scroll down. I can see two related lists that are specific to our product: subscriber list membership and email tracking history. The first shows me what subscriber list the contact is on. As you can see, it's only on one list and is currently marked as active. However, if this contact had unsubscribed or had their email address bounce after a send, the status will automatically change to reflect this. Just beneath this is email tracking history, with email sent, opens, and more. In this example, our contact is engaged with our sent email campaign by opening and clicking on it. It's all very easy to see. If you're using the tracking history related list like we're using here, you can also build your own custom Salesforce reports. Alternatively, you can use Campaign Monitor's Insight tab to view email campaign engagement trends over time, as well as which content has been most successful. Insights is also useful for tracking how your lists are growing based on data imported from Salesforce records and other sources. While you may be feeling very confident at this stage, an important thing to cover is how to test the data sync between Salesforce and Campaign Monitor. Just as we recommend trialing Campaign Monitor for Salesforce in a sandbox, we also ask you to consider setting up test list and client accounts in Campaign Monitor to ensure tests don't accidentally trigger any automated emails or overwrite live data. A few ideas to consider are creating a client account for testing by switching to Campaign Monitor's agency version and creating a separate subscriber list for testing your field mappings and data sync. The safest testing environment in Campaign Monitor is a client account with the pay-as-you-go billing plan selected. On pay-as-you-go, you won't be billed until you send to your subscribers. However, you also won't be able to test and send automated emails on this plan. For automated emails, we recommend choosing a monthly plan and using a very limited set of Salesforce records, at least while you're testing.